All right, today for your first lesson, what we're going to be doing is basically lines. We're going to be learning different variations of lines, and we're going to be evolving into creating an artwork that uses only lines to actually for the whole piece. So, lines. Now, what is a line? And if you said that line, the definition of it is a point that moves through space. So that could be anything. So if I have a dot here, it's just a dot. But if that dot was to move, let's say, this way, then you have your line. So this line right here, horizontal line, you have your diagonal, your vertical, and then there's also different variations of lines. So let's check this one out. So if I have a line here, we'll fill this in. So this is also a line. I mean, it is a shape. It's like a flat rectangle, but it is also a line. It's just a little bit thicker than a normal line. So your different line variations have a lot to do with it. So if I was going to do a skinny line, a fat line, I'm going to do another skinny line. We'll do another fat line here. And if I keep repeating this, it's called a pattern. So I have a different pattern. I can make patterns out of lines. Here is another cool, interesting line that we're going to be doing. So it's a dotted line. Yes, they are dots, but when a dot is repeated over and over and over again, it creates a line, especially from a distance. So if I'm looking at this from a distance, I'm able to tell that this is a vertical line. So it's a dotted line. Same thing, so if I was going to draw a road, your dotted lines to the middle, they make a line. So all of these lines is the building blocks to what we're going to be doing in art this semester, especially virtually. There's only so much we can do. So our lines are very important, okay? This is why we're going to be testing and see how our line variations add up. So in your sketchbook, make sure you have wrote all of this down. Now, the biggest thing with Art 1 students, they're questioning how their talent and how their capability of producing art is. And for me, everybody can be an artist. Everybody can draw. Of course, some are more skilled than others, but then that's where we take Art 1, you're able to build upon that. So, with that being said, the biggest criticism that I get from each and every single one of you is the fact that you can't even draw a stick figure. You always say, I'm not an artist, I can't even draw a stick figure. Well, that is going to be your first assignment. You're going to just draw these in your sketchbook. You're going to do it over and over and over again. But your normal stick figure, people draw them call that a stick figure. It is a form of art, but I'm going to teach you today how to draw a perfect stick figure. All right, so it's going to start out very similar to this one. What we're going to do, we want an egg shape, kind of an egg shape. You can do it again, but we don't want a circle. Our heads are not circles, so we're going to go with an egg shape. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to draw our body, so our neck down to our torso here, all the way through. We've got a line, okay? Now all of these are going to be made with our lines here. So we have our neck down to our belly button pretty much. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do our shoulders. So us as humans, we're a straight line, but we also have shoulders. We go out. So what we're going to do is to draw another line. I'm going to make it a little bit wider than my head. So you're going to make a T, pretty much, a T, or a cross right here. And then I'm going to come down here, so our torso goes down to here, and then we have hips. So our hips. And this is where our legs start. So I'm going to make it about the same distance. So it's going to look like a capital I. Now for our arms, we have all the way from our shoulders down to our elbows. There is a bend in our elbow, okay? I'm going to shorten this just a little bit more. We're going to draw a dot right on our elbows, okay? This is going to show that it moves. It moves. We have that, and I'm going to put my hands on my hips just because. Okay? So we have our arms from our shoulders down to our elbows, and then from our elbows down to our hips. Now, we have hands, okay? I'm going to draw a circle. All right, now our hands are on our hips. Now, we can do the details after, but I have my hips. I'm going to come down, do my thighs. Now this is not our whole leg. This is to our thighs. And then we also, just like our elbows, we have knees. So our knees are going to need joints, okay? The circles and the dots are for joints. And I'm just going to continue to do a straight line that finishes out. Down to our feet. Okay, so we have, and you can also do a little smiley face if you want to. So we have our perfect stick figure. Now I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to do it a little bit quicker. So we have our egg-shaped, torso, hips. I'm going to do this one a little bit more active, okay? So he's going to be doing something active. I'm going to do our arms this way, do our elbows, and then our hands. Let's just say he's running, he plays football, he's running, he's going to catch a pass like this, okay? So then I have to my knees, I'm going to keep this one straight, okay? But my knee is still here. All right, he is diving into the end zone, trying to catch a pass for football. Of course, if you want a smile, you can do a smile. But you see how this stick figure is made by using lines. So there are different type of variations of lines. Horizontal lines. What is the key word that's in this? Horizon. So if we're thinking about a landscape painting or any kind of landscape artwork, you have to have a horizon line. So if I was to look out the windows here at Holston High School, and where the sky meets the ground, that is your horizon. So horizontal lines are very flat, okay? They don't show that much movement, but it's where the sky meets the land, so your horizontal lines do not show movement, they are flat. Vertical lines are straight up and down. So let's say I'm looking out the window again and I see a couple of light poles, I see a couple of trees. All right, so the trees and the light poles are vertical. Vertical lines show power, they show strength, okay? They are to the ground, it's very strength. They're very strong, they show strength. Now, this one, diagonal lines are this. So they go from, they're right in the middle between a vertical and horizontal. So let's say we were out here outside and we saw a tree, okay? A tree is a vertical line, but all of a sudden someone chops it down, okay? They use a chainsaw, they're chopping it down from here. It begins to fall into a horizontal, going to be a horizontal line, but it begins to fall. And as it's falling, it makes a diagonal line, okay? Diagonal shows movement, all right? Movement, all right? So if this vertical line was to fall, it's moving until it gets to a certain point, which is horizontal, that does not show movement. It is still, it is steady, okay? So as our vertical line is straight, it shows power, it shows strength. It gets cut down into a diagonal line, which shows movement. And then it rests down here, which shows no movement at all, so it is still, okay? So there's our different types of lines. Now, if we review this stick person once more, what is the main line that I'm using in here? Okay, so I have a horizontal line, a vertical line. So there's three different types of lines. But then I have a diagonal here, a diagonal here, a diagonal here, here. This one's more vertical, and then here's a diagonal line. So the difference between this showing movement stick person and this kind of, he's just standing still. He's got a lot of vertical lines. He's just there. He's powerful, he's strong, he's standing on his feet. So the difference between these two is one is in action, the other is standing still. So you can tell the difference between a standing still, being still, stick person, and then one in action. So what I want you to do is follow along with this. You're learning how to draw a perfect stick figure. That way you can go ahead and get it off your shoulders, because I know a bunch of you have already came and talked to me and said that you can't even draw a stick figure. Well, now you can. Only using lines. They don't have to be perfect, but this is a better way to draw your stick figures to show motion than just the classic, all right, there's a circle, I'm gonna draw this, I'm gonna do 2 arms and then 2 legs. That's not very helpful, okay? We have our joints, we have our shoulders, we have our hips. So, at the end of this video, we're gonna go over and I'm gonna demo what we're gonna be doing for this first assignment.